we don't want you to just volunteer. We want you to be over the volunteers. We want you to be the leader now. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready for that.
This is Jared Oluwa. He's had his music placed on campaigns like KFC,
10 pieces for only $5.99.
TV shows like MTV's Pretty Stoned, Jersey Shore Family Vacation, and many more. You may have seen him at some of the most prolific sync licensing events, or even guest speaking at panels like the NAMM Show and Shades of Sync. And in this episode, Jared shares some of his most professional advice when it comes to networking, building connections, overcoming social anxiety, and even shares terms he avoids using when building new connections.
But the term just has like a negative connotation, and I've heard that from other people as well.
I'm your host, Excalibur Zero, aka Nathan Foreman, a full-time music entrepreneur building his own music library, and you're listening to the Sync Licensing Podcast, The Realm.
You're one of the multi-talented few that I would not put a label on. In a few words, can you tell the people what you do and what you specialize in?
That was a crazy one. All right. So I'm a connector, first and foremost. So let's say you were looking for somebody who's they need a chef. I'm going to plug you with a chef for your event or whatever you got going on. And it doesn't have to be music. So that's the best thing about me. It's just like, oh, I know a guy or I know a girl. I'm going to do that. And then music, I was born and raised in music, born and raised in church, drums, piano, organ, vocals. So that's me. And then I just love speaking, giving back to the people, volunteering, going outside. If it's a good cause, I'm pulling up, and I'm going to help out and see what I can do to help and, progress and elevate whoever and whatever. 100%. So that's in short. That's it. I ain't finna go down a whole long line of stuff. I'm gonna give you the top 3, and we're gonna push.
Well, last time I linked up with you, I learned that also you produce your own tracks. So you're a producer as well, an artist as well. And I like that you kind of introduce yourself, not really giving yourself a label, because you do wear many different hats and you're specialized in those many different hats. So, I commend you for that, because I've met people through you just based off you being able to connect. Oh, hey, by the way, this is Nathan. So every time I'm with you, you like to introduce and stuff like that. So I appreciate that about you. And it's cool to know that it's not just around music, but in general, because that's just who you are to the core, a genuine person.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah.
Can you share one of your favorite placements and how that came about?
I hate this question. Because I don't know who's listening. Somebody might be like, yeah, what's your favorite placement?
Well, it can mean something different to everybody, just how special it is,
I mean, my first placement that was on TV is my, of course, because that's the one that actually gave me the push and the momentum to be like, this works. I can actually get paid from having music on TV. So I want to say that was my first one. And shout out to Music Carolyn, who's definitely helped me and been instrumental in helping me understand sync. I did the record with her. That was our first record working together, and we pushed it, and it was on Cherish Today by Ever Duvernay. And we got that through, I think, Matt and Flo with Rashad Richardson. And so funny enough, that was my first start. And then the biggest placement that I was a part of was the KFC placement, which was also through Rashad Richardson.
Look at this flavor. No, I love that track.
Saucy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm looking back and I'm like, dang, that's crazy. And it's funny enough, that song that I got on the KFC placement was used for 2 other placements. So it was able to like regenerate and do some more stuff with the instrumental. So I'm like, bro, this is wild.
100%. That's the beautiful thing about sync, is that like one track can live in so many different places. It's not just tied down to one place, unless it's super, super custom and they're paying for that exclusively for them. But in most cases, one track is going to live in a few different places. So if it's a good track, it has longevity, which is the dope thing about sync.
For sure. We love that. 1,000%.
So how many years ago did you get started? And did you get started as far as getting your first placement?
First placement was, I want to say 2020. Getting started was like 2017, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just said, I want to make music for TV and jingles and companies. Didn't know where to start, what the word sync licensing was. So over time, it came around and found it. I found it.
That's dope, man. And I know for you, you're someone who is very well versed into networking, making an impact as far as meeting new people. Every time I'm with you, there's something unique about you that you have on, or something that helps you stand out. So, can you share the importance of networking and building connections for your career so far?
So networking is a huge part of success for me, at least I would say, because people, when you're a good person, they want to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like they're looking for the next thing. Oh, I know Nathan. He can do this. He's a cool person. I appreciate him. Let me connect you with so and so, so and so. I don't connect everybody. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Like I could be with you if I don't connect you to anybody that says something about you. But if you hold value, I'm going to be like, hey, yo, I want you to meet this person. And I might walk away and just let y'all talk and do y'all thing. And then I'm over here meeting somebody new. And if you come back over there, guess what? I'm going to introduce you to somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So community and relationships are important. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just about how dope somebody's music is or whatever the case is. It's like, okay, how can we use community to elevate each other? And then also you mentioned like, wearing certain things like my Santa hat or like my tiger stripe jacket where somebody's gonna be like, hey, what's your name, man? What you doing? Like what you wearing? So it's a conversation starter. It's somebody's gonna actually um, they might be an introvert and they needed somebody to start the conversation. And here I am wearing something. It actually happened. I was at PMC production music conference in October or September. And I was just chilling at the table. Some dude walked up and he was like, hey man, I like your style. And then we just started talking and he was like, yeah, I'm actually looking for some hip hop. Can you send me some records? I want to
Woo.
sign you to one my label. I'm just from wearing the Santa Claus hat, bro.
That's
You
amazing,
feel me?
bro. 100%.
So
I think that you have a good intuition of how to bridge those gaps naturally. And I was actually going to mention that something I do appreciate about you is that every time I do run into you, you do take the time to introduce me to someone. You do take the time to be like, "Oh, this is the head of PMC," or "This is the guy who put everything together," or this is Rashad who works at MFE. So I really appreciate that, and I wonder why. I want to know why you take that approach within networking. Why are you a connector? Trying to help bridge relationships instead of being self-centered and being like, you know what, this is about me. I'm just trying to help myself. I'm just trying to take advantage of my situation. Like, why are you that person who likes to help other people meet each other?
why did you ask such a crazy question?
I'm interested,
that's
bro.
that's wild because I've never even thought about it. Like, why do I connect people? Why? Um, I don't know. I think it's just because I care for people. Growing up in Los Angeles, I'm still not jaded, however, to help people. Even though I've been, you know, I guess like burned and like, oh, people take credit or they haven't given me credit for something or didn't pay me for something or whatever the case is. I still feel like there's good people and I have to be one of them. And I think it's just something that we just have to do, man. I don't even know where I get it from, to be honest with you. So I'm like, dang, how do I answer this question? Um, but yeah, I love to see people happy. I love to see people appreciate and find what they're looking for. That's the thing. I love to pour in and I love to inspire and help push people who want to help themselves, though. That's the thing.
Right.
If you don't want to help yourself, I'm probably not going to help you. I'm probably not going to connect you to anybody. Because if I do help you and you be like, yeah, I don't care, or you're not really interested, I'm going to put my time into somebody who actually wants to. So
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
you're not just gonna let somebody just you're not gonna introduce someone just be like, this is this person and do all the talking for them. You're gonna like take the time to make sure that they're gonna actually go out there and put themselves out there too as well. If you're gonna take that risk of giving that introduction, and I could
Mm,
definitely see that your character, man, your character, like this, I think this is why we get along really well because your character from the core is genuine. Every time we're together, you always have a genuine like this presence about you, and even on camera when you're giving advice, when you're sharing maybe something that's going on in your life, your perspective on things, or even when you're sharing your growth, it all translates very
mm.
easily. And I appreciate that about you because I feel like I take pride in doing stuff like that too as well. If I'm gonna meet somebody that I feel a good connection with, I'm willing to put my name on the line to introduce them or give them a reference or refer or whatever like that. So yeah, that's something where I think that we get along really well is because to the core you are like that. So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. It's that
100%.
synergy, as they say.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Something you mentioned earlier though is being introverted. Now me naturally, I'm a homebody. I'm a producer. You got that artist personality with you where you're willing to dress different and you're willing to put yourself out there because artists have more of a personality to them. Me, I feel like I'm a little bit more low key and just very introverted, but building a business, building a music library has forced me to change that about my that belief about myself, right?
Mm,
So social anxiety is something that many creatives deal with. And I want to put you kind of in a situation here. I want you to imagine you're at like a sync conference, right?
okay.
And you don't know anybody there, but you notice someone who's wearing unique purple shoes that catch your attention. How would you break the ice and introduce yourself in that situation?
It's gonna be different because I'm not in the room, but but definitely I'm gonna use that. You know what I mean, to my advantage. Like you have some purple shoes on, depending on what they are, what brand it is. I'm going to come over there and be like, hey, yo, where you get your shoes from? Like, it remind
Mm.
me of Prince. You know what I mean? Like Purple Rain or whatever the case. That
Right,
was one of
right.
his favorite colors. So I'm going to go over there and pretty much, get that ball started. I'm not going to ask what they do. No shade to anybody who does that, but it's better when you just have a conversation, not predicated to what their position or title is.
Right.
Because a lot of people I found out that, oh, hi, what do you do? And it's like, dang, hi, my name is Jared. How are you? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they get straight to it, like, which is fine, getting straight to it. But at the end of the day, you want to actually make it a genuine conversation, a genuine interaction where it's not transactional. Um, so I just definitely talk to them about those shoes, what made them wear it or whatever the case is, where they get them from, and then just take it from there. And if it goes to, I got them at a certain store or a certain state, then we can talk about travel. We can talk about,
Mm.
what's your closet look like? You know what I mean? Like you got a whole stack of shoes. It can go anywhere, So I will hold off from music just to let anybody know that. And I would just talk about, wherever the fashion can take it.
That's some gems right there, man. Because I have been in a situation with you. We went to a PMC event 2023. We got invited to an after party on a roof bar, and it was with some music supervisors and a couple of composers and stuff like that. And one of the first interactions we had at that rooftop bar when we were meeting people who we had not met earlier in that day, we told them what we did, and it immediately felt transactional. Where it was like they were turned off. They were like, "Oh, I'm not going to spend the time to get to know this person." I remember that to the core, and it stuck with me. So it's funny that you say that like coming off the gate, just trying to figure out what they do for the intention of, oh, I can benefit from this person instead of taking that time to build that genuine relationship. I feel like it's super key. You're definitely someone who I know will take the time to get to know everybody. And that's why I think when we go to these events, everybody's like, oh, Jared, oh, hey, everybody's
Yeah.
it feels so easy for them to do that because you don't make it feel like there's, it's only with the intention of business. It's with the intention for you to meet people and get to know people and make friends. And I'm super weary of that. I'm like a fly on the wall when I'm around you in those situations. I learned that you take the time to actually build those genuine connections, and I feel like that's what I'm here to do too as well. So I appreciate that about you, and that's actually leads to my next question.
Okay.
So something that you don't like as well that I've seen you post about is the term "Can I pick your brain?" And you try to avoid it when building connections. So can you tell us why that term is a no-no when building new connections, and what's a better way to approach that statement?
Thank you for asking that follow-up question. The issue is a lot of people say that. A lot of times it doesn't present itself with any benefit to the person who's getting their brain picked.
Hmm.
A lot of times it's free stuff. They want to talk and ask all type of questions. This person that you're asking to pick their brain is probably a valuable person. That's why you want to pick their brain. So imagine a lot of other people saying that same thing who's not paying for a consultation, who really doesn't have anything to gain back from them, and they don't know you.
Right.
Some people want to help you. They do. There's some people who's at the top and they don't really mind helping, but the term just has like a negative connotation, and I've heard that from other people, and then I also resonate with it as well. So it's like the alternative would be, hey, can we, talk for a minute? Can I, book a consultation, or can I speak to you for 15 minutes? Can I invite you for a coffee? Boom. What about if you don't stay in Los Angeles like I do? You stay in Minnesota. Okay. Hey, do you mind if we hop on a quick Zoom for like 15 minutes? But also, mention something that they've said before that was beneficial to you that
Mm,
also was like, oh, you were listening. You went back and found my interview from 10 years ago. They're going to be more like susceptible, or if that's the word, I didn't graduate third grade. They're going to be like more like, hey, you actually did your research. I look at you differently now. You piqued my interest. We can talk. And a lot of times they really want to give you the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's for people who are in LA if you want to take them out for a coffee or lunch or whatever. And then people who aren't in LA, how can I, talk to you or at least email you a couple questions and be very intentional about how you use the time because people don't just be chilling around like, I hope
right.
somebody emails me today and asks me questions all day and don't pay me. Like, hey, be intentional, be professional, and try to make them feel like they're also getting something from it as well.
Man, you dropped like 3 or 4 different gems there that I want to kind of unpack. So you are emphasizing the exchange of value, which I really appreciate because you got to understand from what I'm learning is like a lot of these supervisors are getting like 200 emails a day. And
Bro.
a lot of these people in this industry are getting asked something for something
Yeah.
most of the day. So it's not personal to you if they don't want to take the time to, give you that time to teach you about something when they have to focus on 20 other things that they're already balancing. So I
Facts.
appreciate that. And they also when we say exchange of value, you're giving advice on, hey, I'm going to ask you for something, but in return, this is what I'm going to give you back. Something I thought about with this podcast, I want to use this podcast as like a tool to really learn, right? I want to learn on the weaknesses and different like skill sets and different pockets in the sync licensing industry because just like you, like I feel like I have a deep obsession of learning in
Mm.
this space, right? I love learning in this space. But something I had thought about doing is I want to get me supervisors on here and people that I want to connect with, right? So I thought about doing like a podcast where I'm gonna buy you DoorDash, but in that time, I want to quote unquote pick your brain. So by the time your DoorDash comes to your front door and is ordered, we're going to be having a short conversation and we're going to be learning about each other. That was an idea that I had, but the point of being is that it's an exchange of value, which is
Yeah.
a huge way that you can kind of build those connections genuinely. Because I feel like at that point, if you're doing that, you're not just going for the ask, but they're also opening the opportunity for you to get to know them. Another point that I wanted to kind of touch on too as well is your research, like you doing research as well. Like I mentioned, like being obsessive is important in this space. Something that helped me that you mentioned right now, something that helped me was when I went to the GMS Awards. Like I said earlier, I'm a little bit more introverted, so I don't really like it's not natural for me to just go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm Nathan. That's not natural to me. I have to force myself to kind of do that.
Yeah.
And but something that helped was when we went to the GMS Awards is that I have done so much research and listened to so many podcasts and so many different people or articles, right, in the sync licensing space that I was able to approach different people by just listening to their podcast. So
Mm.
the music supervisor to Love Island, I was like, oh, hey, I just listened to a podcast like a couple of weeks ago, and you were saying how you were out in Fiji. How was that? It was so natural that way. It was like we were able to have a whole conversation and talk about things that weren't even relative to music,
Yeah.
but we know who we are now. Like another example is Jared with two R. I think it's two R's, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jared with
Two
two R's.
R's.
Yeah, he had an article and he talked about E&O insurance. And I didn't know that I needed
Mm.
that starting a new music library. So I learned that from him. I approached him like, hey man, I just want to let you know I read your article that was you recently had posted and you talked about E&O insurance. I'm starting a new library. I didn't even know about that. So I just want to say
Come
thank you.
on, bro.
He appreciated that. He respected that. So I think that's such an important fact is like doing that research and exchanging value when you're meeting someone new is super key. So you recently moderated Shades of Sync. Shout out to the homie XJ Will and Clint's Music. What was one of the memorable pieces of advice that you learned from that conference?
So there was a question asked about the sunset clause. I've never heard of a sunset clause before, but it's pretty much explaining about like the governing law. So if you're in the States, in the US, and then you end up doing a song in like Asia with another artist, they have different um, legalities and policies that they do, or how long is the term, or if you are in need of E&O insurance, do you have to go to their court? Because if something is a legality issue, you can put in your document or your one stop that you can use Zoom as a way of being in court if you had to get that
Mm,
far. But it was just a thing where, like, if they decided to sue you or something like that, you don't have to pull up to their court because then you'll be, what's that word? Like missing court, skipping out on court,
hmm.
whatever that means, like a no show and you've been summoned or whatever.
Right.
So it's like a bunch of stuff that's in there. That was just the tip of what they were saying. I'm sure it's a bunch of stuff other than that, but the latte lawyer Samara mentioned that, and I was like, what? Although I don't foresee myself being in any type of trouble like that, but it's still good to know so I can pass that
Definitely.
information on. So that was dope.
Well,
But I also do want to tag a trailer onto that, and it was a panel about, I don't know what it was about. But what I did bring up was I wanted to give a reference to the people who attended. Like anytime I moderate a panel, I'm always thinking about the people who are there, who paid for a ticket, who flew in, who had to pay for a hotel. You paid a lot of money to be here. So what my job is to do is to make sure you go home with the best information and knowledge that you wouldn't have got by just saying, so tell me, how'd you get your start in sync licensing? Nobody cares. We all know that you started as a temp, you was working at a music house, and then you did this, and then you started interning, and then you got your major way. Cool. That's really not going to help the upcoming people. What I do know is that people have siblings, they have kids, they have a mom, a grandma, a dad, or uncle, and they may have to take care of them and have time set aside that doesn't necessarily distract you from your success. And I wanted to shine a light on that on the panel. And the best part was it was coming from a male perspective about having his kids at the studio with him because family is first.
great.
And, you know, you don't want to just put money into it all the time and just say it's a money thing. I need to have my success or I got the kid. You watch the kids. It's like, nah, kid is part of me. I'm a part of my kid. My kid is coming. And I ended up crying on that panel. And I had to get the mic and I was like, hey, y'all, I don't have no kids, but this is, oh, it's like it choked me up,
Right.
you know? And I wanted other people to hear that. And a lot of people was like, man, like in the crowd, I was hearing people like, like, and I know after that, they was like, bro, thank you so much for saying that. I don't have kids, but I'm taking care of my mom right
Mm,
now. And it's like, I don't really know how to balance. And it meant something. Like I think that was the most memorable part, at least for me, throughout the whole panel. It's like it's not about music. Who are you if you walk into the room without your guitar, your piano, your microphone? Who are you?
mm.
And so I love to get to that part of being a human and knowing how to navigate in the world without having your instrument. You know, so I think that was my favorite part of the panel. So yeah, I'm
That,
getting a little hot right now talking
yeah,
about it, bro.
100%. Yeah, I got kids myself, so definitely like it's impressive that people who are in this industry are willing to get it by any means.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just part of your story. It's just you're just
Mm,
building this resume and this story that you can kind of look back on and say, damn, like I really did that. Like I really made no excuses. Look what he's showing his kid. Like look at that,
yeah.
that look at the example he's showing his kid in that situation that I didn't let an excuse, I didn't let anything get in my way. And I still am being there present as a father, which is you know me, man. I'll talk about my kids all day. I love that. I
Yeah.
grew up without knowing my father. I grew up just being raised by my mom for the
Yeah.
most part. And like just knowing how much she sacrificed for me and being able to hear something like that, it's just like it pushes you even more. It makes you want to, buckle down and like show not even like it could be anybody. It could be anybody in your life
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you care for that
Facts.
you know, I have a dream, and even though this is my circumstance, this is what's going on in my life, I'm willing
Yeah.
to go after that. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Ah, bro, my pleasure, bro. My pleasure.
So what about the people though? You kind of touched on this earlier, but what about people who don't have the means to go to an event, or maybe they have to attend virtually, or maybe they live across the world,
Mm,
and it's just too expensive to travel over here for some of these bigger conferences that are going on for sync licensing. What are some ways that people can do to utilize social media to curate a community? By the way, that is from a LinkedIn post that you posted. So I'm excited to hear your answer in person.
You know the thing I love about me saying something is if you ask me that same question again, the answer is going to be different.
Hmm.
So anybody who does come to a conference, whether that's in person or online, there's lots of communities out there. Like you said, like you do your research. If you want to know something, you're going to research about it and find out. So there's lots of communities out there that one of them is Pandian Music Foundation. Um, Another one is the Sync Collective, the Sync Alliance, 10 Road to Placements, the Fingers. Marcus Manderson has, a lot of people that he has
Yes.
bringing people together. I think it's called
Synchronicity.
Sync to
Yeah.
Success, right?
Yep.
And he's always plugging people and putting people together, making a directory. So if you join his Secrets to Success, you can be added to the directory. Find other, BIPOC artists, female composer, editor, engineer, whatever the case is. It's people out there. You just have to go and find out. Facebook groups, go on LinkedIn, type in different hashtags if you want to meet with that person or if you want to connect with that person, and then comment on a post, because what that does is how they have it, what it says, commenting for a better reach or something like that.
Hmm.
CFBR. So it's like if I comment, then my community gets to see that I commented on something, and they can also be attached to like if they want to check it out or not, and say, oh, somebody's looking for a new coordinator at this one job, is remote. Since I posted on it, now my community gets to see that somebody else is talking about something. So what I realized a lot is a lot of young people don't utilize LinkedIn. And they be
Hmm.
like, LinkedIn. And I'm like, yeah, get on LinkedIn. They like, man, all right, I guess. I'm like, y'all don't even understand. I got brands that gave me equipment because I was posting on LinkedIn and they found me. And it
Mm.
was like, hey, when you come to our booth, come look for me. I got stuff for you.
Oh,
So
dang.
it's like, y'all can sleep on it if you want to. You know what I mean? Somebody else is going to be up there getting to it, and you're going to be wondering why you don't have
One-
it.
100%. I've definitely learned recently. I've had LinkedIn for a while, but I had not been active on it until probably this past year. Like
Yeah.
going over a little bit over a year now, and there's so much opportunity on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. Like
Oh,
you can
goodness.
find every crevice and corner of any professional in this industry that you're trying to look from the top bottom.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they do. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn who are active. And then to circle back to your point earlier about the different communities, what you were mentioning earlier, the Facebook group. So if anybody's listening, you're confused what he was talking about. Their Facebook groups. So like Secrets to Success is a really big one. Shout out to the homie Marcus. He's one of our future guests coming up very soon. Another wizard at networking too, as well.
Wow.
Him and you are like the top to me, man. I learned from you
Nah,
guys.
he more with it. Like, he
No,
like
you got.
laser. He like laser focus with it, bro. He get to it. Like,
Oh yeah, no. Marcus makes moves for sure.
yeah.
And you got, yeah, I talked to him the other day on the phone for like an hour.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's definitely coming up after you on this. But he has a directory, so he has a list that he said everybody in his community. I think he told me the other day he's like 3 or 4 thousand already people from this community that he's recently built. And it's a list, and you can put if you're an artist, if you're a producer, where you're located, female, male, what's your specialty as far as genre. So like that's like you said, that's a great way to just kind of uh dig your teeth within the community and just get to know other people and collaborate, because you're going to find opportunity when you collaborate like that. When you
Yeah.
collaborate with somebody from Lithuania and they speak their natural language and they can get over your hip hop beat, and there's a
Hey,
show looking for that. That's a huge opportunity for you
come on now.
to step through the door. So yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
those. You said the Sync Collective was one. What was the other one?
So the Sync Collective, that's Yusef and Prima.
Yep.
They're out here in LA and they have a library. They're out at different networking events as well, getting to it. And that's
Oh
what you
yeah.
have to do. And I don't want to, take that away from people who aren't in the city, because there's always something going on. And guess what? If there's not, why not you be the person who started? You know?
Mm.
So I thought about that a lot. Oh, I don't have anybody out here and nobody does this. Okay. It's going to continue to be that way if you don't be the one who actually initiates it.
Right.
Now, am I saying
100%.
it's going to be easy? Nah, but it's a part of the journey. You didn't get here because you was just like, yo, it's easy to do this. It's easy to read a contract. It's easy to that. No, it took time. You did your research, you figured it out, you built, you had a job. Now you learn from them and you figured out how to create your own. it starts with an idea about what you want to do, and then you start figuring things out on the way,
Mm.
And I think once you have those conversations, I think other people will reach out to you and want to be a part and help you because they see that, oh, this kid has some kind of, something to it. I don't know what it is, but I want to help him. I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff goes like this.
100%. And you make a good point that us as creatives, we're very good at coming up with ideas, I feel like. So there's different ways, I feel like, even if you're not, if you're in the middle of some random country in the middle of nowhere, right? I feel like there's still ways you can utilize social media. Just because a lot of these opportunities happen in person does not mean you can't go online and make these same opportunities for yourself.
Facts.
We definitely have the tools right now and the resources to create like something strong for ourselves. It just takes, it takes time and meticulous attention, I feel like.
Hey, you went to college?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Full Sail.
Yeah, I can tell. You said meticulous. Yeah, shout out to Full Sail and the professors up here, bro.
I graduated third grade, bro.
Me too. No, actually, I didn't. Actually, I didn't graduate third grade, so you got one
Bro?
up on me, bro.
Bro, I thought you were kidding when you said that.
No,
Oh, I was about to say,
no.
damn.
Self-made, bro.
Oh,
Self-made.
snap.
No, but yeah.
Something I like about you too is that you're all about making opportunities. So something you'll do is you'll volunteer at big events. Some of these events can be super expensive, man. I've skipped
Oh,
out on a few this year just because I'm like, man, I got to save a little bit of money.
yeah.
So can you tell me about the strength of volunteering and how do you pursue it? And what relationship have you built from doing so far?
So I want to first say for people who think that they want to go and do the same thing, it's not going to be the same for you as it is for me. And I'm saying that because I'm coming from a place of I'm coming to help and support. There's going to be people who's like, I just want to go just to get in the building because I heard that so and so is going to be there, and that's your main goal.
Mm,
It's okay, but they're going to see that. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like people, usually they have like you have to email correctly. So if you don't email them correctly and say that this is how you want to help and be a service, they're gonna just delete that email.
mm,
Um, I can look back at different times where I've sent emails and I didn't get a response, and I looked at how I came and presented the email, and it probably wasn't the best, you know. And learning more and being around other people and just seeing how other people made mistakes, I learned from their mistakes, and so I tailored the email different the next time around. Got a reply back. um, they had a Zoom meeting and said, "Why do you want to volunteer with us?" And I'm like, "Oh, because this and this and this and this and that. And then also I want to do this and I want to do that." And they like, "Okay, I've been elevated," and they gave me different positions. Like, "Yeah, we don't want you to just volunteer. We want you to be over the volunteers. We want you to be the leader now." And I'm just
oh.
like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But I'm really out here trying to push service, bro. Like that's really my thing. So for somebody who wants to volunteer, that's great. If you're a helper, please reach out to these different companies, email them, find an email, find a website, find an Instagram, find a LinkedIn, find a Google, and type whatever in there and reach out to them. If they don't answer back the first time, give it about a month or two and hit them back up or comment on a post because usually everybody has an Instagram. And so just comment on a picture, a photo, comment on the story. A lot of people don't know that. That's how you end up in the DMs. If you comment and respond through a story, you're gonna get transferred to the DMs. So now you have a chain of conversation that you can go back and see. Oh, dang, we was talking back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But for though, let me get back to off the tangent. So anybody who wants to get to these different conferences, just be of service, reach out, let them know that what you've done at other volunteers. If you start going to one, you go to more, they're going to start seeing you and be like, they remember you. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
definitely it's pay to play for sure. You got to pay to play. So even if that's one time and then you get to talk to whoever the coordinators are, let them know you want to help. Let them know that you see what's going on and you can add value. And that may work for you. But of course, you got to be genuine to who you are and not try to fake it just to get a free ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some good advice. So you're saying that like when you're doing something like this, It's for the intention to help out. And naturally over time, I feel like the more they see you, the more opportunity you're going to be able to get to maybe kind of build upon a relationship that maybe you met there from that point. Are you able to talk to other people who are a part of the event too as well when you're there, as far as like saying what's up, or how does that look?
So for me, it's 2024 now. I've been around long enough where now supervisors and agents and they'll come say hi to me. I don't even
Mm.
have to like if I don't see them, I'm talking to somebody else. They'll come up and be like, and I'm just like, oh, and everybody's looking like, hey, yo, what? How he do that? Like, and it's just like I've been around, like for real, for real. Like, I paid for conferences, I volunteered at conferences, I showed up to conferences without a ticket, and I seen somebody who needed help, and they were like, "Oh, Jared, I can't stay. Can you help me pass out these flyers at this table?" Now I'm at the conference.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
now they're
right.
like, hey, that guy, I don't know who he is, but he helped us out. So the next time I saw them at Durango, if anybody knows about the Durango Songwriting Expo, I wasn't slated to be a volunteer when I first started going. I helped out somebody, and it just came full circle for me to be put in position to help. And then the coordinators who are over the program saw me and was just like, I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you. And if you need anything, let us know.
Mm.
So now I'm in the game now with them where I don't really, you know what I mean, have to be like, oh, I need this and I need that. They're like, yo, what you need? Let us know. Like you really helped out tremendously. And it's like I drive off of that. So make sure you're a person who drives off of helping and being of service and making sure that you don't try to, oh, there's so and so something. Let me go over there and talk to them and pitch. Like, oh,
Mm.
that's cringe. If
Right.
you do see somebody, introduce yourself, and keep it very short. Keep it short because everybody wants to talk to them. They may be also going to get ready for their panel or going home, whatever the case is. Keep it short. Say what you got to say. If you can exchange information, do that. Follow up with them. That is the next key. And the hardest key is the follow up. Hey, it was nice to meet you at the so and so, so and so. We were standing by the elevator and we talked about so and so, so and so. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you. Easy.
Right.
You didn't pitch, they might ask you. So, hey, what is it? We didn't talk about. What is it that you do, man? So tell me, send me something.
I have seen that with you. I have literally been with you when you have met someone and you, I guess from that point, you had never even told them what you did. You just have met that person. I guess you ran to them a couple of times, and they were like, "You know what, Jared? What do you like? What do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you make music? Like, what do you do?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, you know." I seen that happen so naturally. I love that fact that you like. I feel like it's smart. You're putting yourself in these positions where you're making yourself seen enough. They say it takes 7 times for someone to see you, for them to remember you, like to
Wow.
really remember you, right? And I think that you just put yourself in these situations when you come in with this intent of like we just honing on the subject, but service and just providing value, that it all comes full circle back to you. I don't know if people listen to like Dave Ramsey. There's a step that he has, like one of his last steps. He has these baby steps of building financial freedom. And his last step is give like no one else so you can live like no one else. And you're so
Mm,
focused on giving that all that stuff that the universe will just bring it back to you. So I appreciate, like, I feel like it's such a gem. And I feel like I do move in that way too, as far as like helping the community, as far as teaching and stuff like that too. Also, I definitely see that, but it's such a gem that it needs to be highlighted on
mm.
this podcast because it's so important. Like the fact that you can go somewhere and meet someone multiple times and you're like, you're not even plotting. You're just like, I'm just meeting these people and they can come back to you like, Jared, what do you do? Like, let's talk about that. I have friends that work in this industry that are looking for that type of music. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's cool that you do that.
Yeah, bro. I got so many stories. Like I can't even talk about some of them, but I got so many stories about how stuff has just popped up for me because I was just chilling, being a cool person. And they're like, hey, send me your music. I'm working on a show. And I'm just like,
That's
like, you know
perfect.
what I mean? If somebody could get this opportunity, they would just fall over it. But I just be chilling. Like,
Right.
I just really just be on some just like, hey, what we doing? If you're a cool person, cool. I know a lot of people that executives in executive positions that I might not personally gravitate to. What does that mean? That means I'm not just going after an opportunity just because I know they have a position.
Mm-hmm.
If I connect with you on a cool level, that's enough for me. Like I'm trying to be your friend. I'm trying to help you, whatever you need. I'm trying to be a solution to the issue. And it can be somebody who like I know they can help me and they're looking for epic hip hop sports stuff, which I do. I might not want to work with them because I'm like, yeah, I can't see us having a synergy. I can't see us
Mm,
connecting. You have what I'm looking for. I want to work with you, and you're looking for people. You have a gap in your music, and you're looking for it, and I can be that person to fill the gap. And I'm still might not want to work with you because I'm like, yeah, I don't like your character.
hmm.
So that's a big thing for me too. It's just like, you cool, but I can't. I would just pass on that opportunity.
It comes back to being intentional. Like you're not just going to work with someone just to work with them. It's all
Yeah,
about intentionally building a genuine relationship. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
And let me also clarify though, sometimes everybody's in a different financial situation. So if you're in a situation and you can provide something to somebody, even if you don't like the person, sometimes you just still got to do the work. Don't take it so personal. It's a business transaction. Okay, cool. Do it that way. But have some tact, have some respect, have some dignity within that person and within yourself first. So even if you don't really like the person per se, but it can bring you financial, stability because you have a family or you in some type of debt or because you live in Los Angeles. Rent is like $6,000 for like a
Six
small little.
$6 million, bro.
Yes. So if you in need of some finances and you want to work with, don't listen to me and say, "Oh, I gotta keep my dignity." No, sometimes you gotta go ahead and make that connection, get that
Right.
bread, and do the next thing. So I want to make sure I'm being conscious of other people's situations.
This leads me to a question that's not on my notes. But it just made me think. Do you ever get into a position where you're maybe working with someone or you met someone that you've gotten discouraged that it didn't come, didn't follow through the way you thought it would?
On a collaboration
Could
point,
be a
or
collaboration or like someone that you were trying to meet to get connected with that you maybe researched before. Like it could be any situation in that point.
yeah, it happens, and the more you try to reach out and make stuff happen, the more you're gonna probably run into that. Um, recently, well, not recently, but over the last year or two, I only started working with my brother, Beats Made by Fresh, and my buddy Nico. He
Mm,
does instrumentals and engineer. He really was instrumental in helping me learn Pro Tools. So it helped me tremendously during the pandemic, where I was able to get my home set up. And my brother just feeding me instrumentals now, so I don't have to worry about producing. I'm just like, all right, cool. Let me just focus on vocals. I got only with them too because you want to help other people, but when they take a long time to answer an email or to send
mm,
a contract back, or it's just a lot to deal with, you start to be like, you know what? I need people who are assets, not liabilities,
mm,
because supervisors and agents don't have time to wait for you. Like if they're asking you for an email for something that they need today, they probably needed it a long time ago. They're just trying to give you grace so you can
hmm.
send this stuff in. And if you're not somebody who responds back quick enough, I can't put my reputation or my finances on the line because it's all about like being on time, being punctual. Um, and so if you're not that, I can't mess around.
Mm, that's a good point. All about reliability. I feel like something like it's weird that the etiquette for how how us or artists will approach or producers or whatever approach like our collaborator, like our collaborators, right? It trickles down. Like music supervisors have an expectation they need to meet for the showrunner or the director, and those
Yes.
directors have expectation for the whole production company, and the production company needs to maybe answer to the actual network like Netflix or Bravo, whoever. Like that etiquette trickles down, that expectation trickles down. Everybody is holding themselves to the same standard, so it's never personal. It's just that there's people who move and operate in a certain way where they're reliable and it's easier to work with them instead of having to backtrack and try to find you for this split or find you for if we can use this track or whatever it is. Like all that stuff, like having your business right and just being a
Mm,
person who is reliable is going to give you more opportunities. Like you being on your stuff, making sure you're bow tie neat and that you're presenting yourself in a way that is a professional, because this is a business from top to bottom, from the
mm,
very top when they're sending the show out and it's actually being aired all the way down to the when they're picking your track for a specific scene. Like, all it needs to be cohesive. I don't know
Yes.
if I learned that from college, but I'm just going to use it. I don't even know if that's the right word to use. Cohesive. It all needs to fit correctly. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that insight right there.
Now that was a highlight. That's definitely something you need to highlight because people don't think past the supervisor. They don't think about the director, like you said, the showrunner, Bravo, Netflix, you know what I mean, the networks, and they don't think about none of that. They're just like, yo, pick my music and send me the check. It's like, yeah, music is last to
Yeah,
be coordinated throughout the show, even though it's an intricate part, it still lasts. And art has been that way forever. Music has been that way. It's helped people get along and, inspire them and, motivate people, but it's also still not looked at as something that's essential, you know?
100%.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a lot we could talk about, bro. You dropped a lot of gems right there talking about like having your business together, being easy to work with. Like, I want to actually break those terms down just real quick
Go ahead,
about
bro.
when you hear that. Is like, if you have your business together, what does that mean? Okay, having your one stop sheets, split sheets together, having sure you signed it, your co-collaborators, your co-workers or co-producers signed it. The IPI numbers is there, which is like your music social security number. If you have a PRO, everybody needs a PRO, performance rights organization, if you want to get paid. Yeah, I'm on an interview right now. Tell President I'll call him back. Um, yeah, bro, I'm getting calls everywhere.
Uh,
Uh, eh, get your performance right organization so you could get paid, so you can get royalties. Even if you do a gratis track and
mm,
get placed on TV, you still can generate some cents or some dollars on your PRO on the back end. It's going to take a year before you see something, but it's coming in. Um, and also the metadata. Have your metadata together. What does that mean? If you don't have that pitch or if you don't have disco, having your songs tagged, having your information in there, having your BPM, having the name, your real name, your stage name, all the stuff. That could be a whole different interview right there, bro.
it
Um,
100% could
yeah,
be a whole
yeah,
interview.
yeah. I'm just trying to swing through it real quick. And then you also mentioned being easy to work with, like being a easy person to work with. Like, so turn your email notifications on. Um, and so you can, respond back quickly. And, if they need something, be nice. What do I mean
Mm,
by be nice? Oh, say thank you. Be grateful. Use their name. Hey, Nathan, thank you so much for the opportunity. Da 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 da. Like, people love that when they're appreciated because a lot of people just take them for granted.
mm,
And I'm pretty sure people have taken you for granted, and you're not even at the peak yet, bro. I think everybody hits different phases of peaks in their life.
mhm.
You're at probably one of them right now, but you have more to go. And so you're not even at the level that everybody knows you at yet. But people still gonna look at you like whatever. It's like, all right, you better respect them right now because later on, you never know.
You are 100% right about that.
Yeah, yeah, bro. So that's it.
Uh,
I
the,
can go on and on, but I'm gonna leave it right there.
no, man, it's important. I feel like you gotta double down on that info right there because like it's just so this is a business. Like, this is a business.
Yeah.
People have to pitch a show to get approved. There's so many different layers to this. So you presenting your way, like you're presenting yourself as you're the one pitching your show to Netflix, like having yourself to that same accountability is only going to help you in the long run. Making sure everything's set up and prepared. That way they don't have to track you down to ask for it. All that
Mm.
stuff. I've worked for a really big library, and I started 7 months as an intern, not getting paid. And then I got lucky enough to get onboarded where I worked for them as a music coordinator, right? And for 6 years, I got to see so many different spectrums of how this business is run. I got to sit in the editing bays and watch how they actually edit the shows. I got to do time code notes. So like, let's say Netflix, here's the music in a show. They'll do time codes of like different edit. It doesn't even have to just be music. It could be anything. It could be a cut. It could be the way that it's edited. It could be a transition, anything. Hey, we want to switch out this B-roll. Like, hey, we want to switch out this track at 32 seconds. We don't like it. It sounds dull, outdated. Like, there's so many layers to this stuff that if you present your way like you're working at the top, you're only going to grow quicker. So yeah, thank you for emphasizing all that stuff. That's important because if there's anything that you can take away from trying to get into this industry is like, one, you have to be obsessive over it. Jared is someone who's obsessive. Jared is always putting himself in those situations where he's going to be seen, where people are going to see him and people are going to know who he is just because of he's putting himself in those positions frequently. Like Jared is going to take the time to learn this. Like Marcus Manderson is someone who is always going to put a comment on a YouTube video. It could be the most random YouTube video. This guy is obsessive. Like if you're really gonna go into this lane, it's about like fully committing yourself as a business. So yeah, man, thanks for like shining the light on that subject because it's super important, man.
Yeah. And just real quick, I also wanted to bring up that you were listening to the Dave Ramsey podcast. That has nothing to do with music. People think that everything that they do has to chase music. And it's just like,
Mm,
no, these are other things out there. Like, you know what I mean? You mentioned like the financial baby steps and stuff like that. People forget about other things that exist, and it's not only just chasing placements.
mm,
You know what I mean? So the fact that you are listening to podcasts about other things that can get your mind running about something else, it's perfect, bro. And I think people need to do that more. I listened to the Diary of a CEO
love
by
that
Steve
guy.
Bartlett.
Steve? Yeah, love
Bro,
that guy.
you know how much stuff I learned that had nothing to do with music that I can also implement in music or just in my life in general, bro? Listen to
100%.
the podcast.
100%. He asked some really good questions on so many different
That's
subjects that like
that's
all different types of subjects. It's a big gem of a podcast
yeah.
for sure.
My favorite is when he keeps why? Why? Like you say something, and I always used to do this, and this has made me like, why? And like you have to go further down the surface,
Right, right.
and then he causes you to be like, dang, why do I do that? And now you're waking up yourself, knowing and learning about yourself because somebody's like, nah, I need more.
Mm,
It's 7 layers to like peeling back things to get to the why. And I love that he does that. Like I'm not just gonna take that answer. I'm gonna ask you why and why and why. So yeah.
100%, man. 100%. Speaking of using other resources in podcasts,
Mm.
I've watched a Netflix interview about me supervisors, and on there was Jen Malone, and she
Ah.
has this concept called Someday Syncs. It's basically a playlist that she puts together of tracks that she would like to sync one day that she just come
Mm.
across, right? If you could place a song, let's say you're a music supervisor and you could place a song, any song, what would be your Someday Sync?
I don't listen to a lot of music, man, but I would definitely do it for somebody who's a indie artist that's coming up. Like I
Mm,
mentioned earlier, somebody who's putting in the work, they're doing shows. Matter of fact, Sozi, my friend Sozi, she's been doing music for a long time. Sozi. I have a lot of friends, so I shouldn't give names because somebody's gonna be like, you left me out. But she's been just like doing a lot of things, showing up, going to FYI with Julie Pilot, Will I Am, and just doing different shows, understanding like how it works for marketing and doing music videos and how to go around getting placements. I would place some of her songs. Um, she has more like of the like teenage girl, indie rock type of joints.
mm.
Um, she does more, but like those are the joints. And so I like to see people like who's actually working and trying to get it done. And I just want to help push it. Hope that answers the question.
That's definitely 100%. Shout out to Sozi. You got that
Okay.
someday. You made it to Jared's Someday Sync playlist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about you're the first person I've ever asked that question on the podcast. So I'm thinking about starting a playlist and start putting people's music, like everybody's reference on
Bro,
on this playlist. So yours is going to be one of the first.
you got something going. That's what's up.
100%, man.
Yeah. We need to talk offline. My battery's going down soon. But
Uh,
you mentioned something earlier, and I have some opportunities I want to slide your way that I can't say on Zoom. But we'll talk about that and to see if that's something that you're interested in. You know what I mean? And taking
yeah,
away.
you guys don't get the secret sauce. It's like
Yeah,
nah.
yeah.
I actually this it's perfect because I have one more last question.
Okay.
Your slogan when you post is invest in your elevation. What does that mean to you?
Thank you for saying that, bro, because that's my new phrase that I use. What does that mean? That means a lot. That means it can be money, it can be a resource, that can be something that you know how to do. And if you want to elevate, how do you invest in it? Okay, cool. Nathan, what are you looking for? You're looking for indie artists in a someday sync or someday song, or you're looking for people to add to super selective because you might need some Japan artist or something, how can I invest and elevate in that so I can help you and I can help myself?
Mm.
So taking a course, that's investing in elevation. Um, if you know how to do graphic design and somebody needs help with that, how can I do that for you for free? And on the back end, we exchange and barter resources for something.
Mm.
It's pretty much, man, you can take it however you want, but it's just like whatever you want to do, you have to invest in it. That's just like investing. If you want to make some money from investing, you have to first put money in it. You know what I mean? And it's doesn't always have to be about money, because I don't really always want to just talk about money, 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 money. But that's the currency that people understand. But
Right.
another currency is just being a good person, bringing value, bringing respect, leveling out the playing field, because it's the music industry is kind of messed up right now. So we need good people like us that can come in and actually balance and tip the scale to make it more favorable with indie people, since we're not signed to like a major or anything like that. People need to know that they can count on people like us and use us as their trusted sources. So being outside, establishing those relationships, building community, networking, that's investing in your elevation.
Mm. Perfectly said, man.
Yeah.
Jared, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, coming on the realm. If you have any resources or anything you want to share, our socials, we're going to put them in the description, but please feel free to shout them out. I know you have a picnic coming up, depending on when you're listening to this. And if you're in LA, you could catch it. The spotlight is yours right now.
I forgot about the picnic. November 24th, Sunday, 1 to 5. I don't have the park yet. I'm going to go out today, though, and find it. And yeah, just invest in your elevation, everybody. Whoever's watching this, whatever time, whatever level you're at, do what you got to do. Use social media, use LinkedIn, create those relationships, and take your time. Give yourself 2 years to go hard and build yourself up before you start to feel like you want to give up because it's not working out. It's going to take some time. Enjoy the journey. That's all I have to say. And Nathan, thank you so much for having this platform and, giving it to people like us so we can like share.
Man, 100%, man. I appreciate you taking the time to get on here and share your gems. I use this as a learning experience for me. So hopefully somebody came out of here and learned something too as well. Thank you so much, my brother.
It's a pleasure.
All right, I'm going to